So you want to grow, scale, and take over the world, but have you built something that people actually love yet? Because if you haven't, scaling is just spreading disappointment at scale, like throwing a huge party with no drinks, or worse, no guests who actually want to be there. So forget growth for a second. Before you scale, you need three things: a clear target audience, a simple onboarding experience, and consistent value. Otherwise, growth doesn't just fail, it backfires. Think of it like trying to run a marathon with your shoelaces tied together. It's painful, it's embarrassing, and it doesn't end well. So let's talk about the classic mistake. There's nothing wrong with wanting to grow, but too many companies choose scale before they even know what they're scaling. It's like launching a spaceship when you've only just figured out how to light a candle. And that's because first impressions matter. If people try your product and it's confusing, frustrating, or just meh, they won't come back. Worse, they'll tell their friends that it's awful, and before you know it, your product is infamous for all the wrong reasons. So growth is great, but in the early stages, rapid iteration is far more important. You need to dial in what your audience actually wants before worrying about scale. Take Clubhouse, for example. It exploded overnight with a great onboarding experience and a clear audience. Tech people and media people loved it. But it didn't sustain value. The hype wore off, and now it's kind of gathering dust. And compare that to Slack, which focused on solving a clear problem, team communication, nailed its onboarding, and ensured ongoing value before scaling. Slack didn't just get people through the door, but they wanted to stay. Another example? Well, have you ever heard of Juicero? Probably not, because they launched a high-tech juicer that required a Wi-Fi connection and a subscription service to squeeze fruit packets. Yes, fruit packets. They prioritized growth way before anyone cared about the product, and instead of refining and iterating, they went straight to scaling and became a cautionary tale in the "let's not be that guy" handbook. Oh, and real quick, if you're new around here, my name's Jono, and I've helped hundreds of companies and thousands of people build dependable audience growth and engagement with less hassle and better results. Now, our first step is to know exactly who your product is for. And if your answer is everyone, then congratulations, you've already failed. The best products don't try to be everything to everyone. They solve a specific problem for a specific group. Duolingo, language learners who don't want to pay for expensive tutors. Notion, people who want to organize their lives and are secretly control freaks. So the key here is to figure out exactly who you serve and what makes them tick. And if you don't know your audience, then you're just throwing darts blindfolded and hoping that you're going to hit something useful. And this is where your ICP, your ideal customer profile, not the insane clown posse, comes in. Your ICP is a detailed profile of the kind of customer who will not only love your product, but will stick around and tell others about it. But here's the kicker. You don't just decide your ICP out of thin air. You have to get a bunch of people using your product, observe what they actually want, and then refine accordingly. Now, this doesn't mean that you need explosive growth. You just need more people using your product and giving you feedback. And every interaction is a clue. Every customer complaint is a potential roadmap improvement. The best companies obsess over what their audience needs rather than assume that they already know. So find your niche and don't be afraid to alienate people outside of it. Apple didn't build the iPhone by asking flip phone users what they wanted. They focused on people who valued sleek design and seamless integration, and look where it got them. Oh, and by the way, if you're enjoying this, I would love it if you'd hit that like button. It has a huge impact on small channels like mine. And a sub to this channel, well, that would be just amazing and make my day. Now, the second step here is to make your onboarding dead simple. Nothing kills excitement like a confusing setup process. If people need a PhD in your product before they can even use it, they're gone. For example, Airbnb didn't start by building the world's most complicated rental system. They made it dead simple to list a couch. And Dropbox literally showed a 90-second video explaining drag and drop file storage, and boom, millions of users. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. A friend of mine who used to work at Microsoft said that they had a 10-minute rule that software had to be useful within 10 minutes of taking the shrink wrap off the box. That's how critical first impressions are. If people can't figure out the value of what you've built within a few minutes, well, you've already lost them. It's not about making something cool, it's about making something instantly functional. You see, your onboarding should kind of be like a theme park ride. Clear, fun, and makes people want to go again. The moment a user signs up, they should really feel like they're already winning. And too many products out there think that giving users a tutorial means dumping them into a complicated knowledge base. No one wants that. They want results quickly, and the goal is to get them to their aha moment faster than a toddler realizing that crayons work on walls. And again, this doesn't need explosive growth. It's really about observation. And a great way to refine your onboarding is to get an early user on a Zoom call, ask them to perform a task, and just watch where they get stuck. Don't guide them, just observe. Where do they hesitate? What's unclear to them? Another great way to get some insight on your onboarding process is to see how far people get through an onboarding tutorial that's spread across multiple pages. If they're dropping off on page 2, well, you don't need more marketing. You need to go and fix page 2 and make that part of the process easier. So fix the leaks before trying to flood the system with new users. Now, before I get to our final step, if you want to build consistent audience growth and engagement and do it in a way that builds genuine, lasting relationships, you should absolutely check out our community leadership core. We're kind of like a personal trainer for audience engagement. We help you to figure out what work has the biggest impact, how you dial it in, and we hold you accountable to get the very best results. There's no wasted effort, no guessing games, just clear, effective steps to make audience growth feel less like mastery and more like a system. You can find out more by clicking on the link down there in the description. All right, so now let's get on to our final step, where you deliver consistent, repeatable value. You see, if people aren't coming back to use your product, they probably don't care enough. And honestly, that's on you. Netflix didn't grow because of its flashy design. It grew because it always had something people wanted to watch. Canva makes it easy to design anything at any time. If your product isn't creating repeatable value, you don't have a growth problem, you've got a usefulness problem. And no amount of marketing can fix a product that people just don't find useful. But here is where one of the biggest risks lies. You might be building value for people who are using your product, but are they actually your ideal customer profile? Not everyone who shows up is your target audience, and the danger is in getting distracted by users who aren't really the people you should be serving. Your ideal customer profile should always be evolving alongside your product. And the best way to do this isn't through massive growth. Again, it's through observation. Watch who's thriving with your product, who's getting the most value out of it, and refine your offering based on that. Take Notion, for example. Initially, it was marketed as an all-in-one workspace, but as they observed usage patterns, they realized that the most engaged users were teams using it for project management and knowledge sharing. Instead of chasing every possible user, they doubled down on these core use cases, refining their feature set and messaging to cater to this specific audience. The result? Explosive organic growth, fueled by product-led advocacy, not a scattergun approach to customer acquisition. So let's be honest, consistency, it isn't sexy, but it's what keeps people around. Think about brands that get it right. Amazon delivers fast. Spotify keeps you entertained. And McDonald's fries taste exactly the same in every country. That's not by accident. It's a relentless focus on delivering what people expect every single time. So look, growth is exciting, but scaling something half-baked just makes a bigger mess. Before you worry about audience growth, focus on what really matters. Knowing your ideal users, making onboarding seamless, and delivering value that keeps people coming back. Now, throughout this video, I've been banging on about how important it is to get super clear on who your target audience is. And the good news is if you click on this video over here, I'm going to walk you step by step through how to put together a target audience persona, where I include a free audience persona template that we use with our customers, okay? I think if you go through that video, it's going to help a ton in everything you do, from content to engagement to improving your product. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes. I think it'll help a load. So go check out that video next, and I'll see you there.